what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh. Hello and welcome to another episode of I Guess I'll Do It with Pat House, where I talk to comedians about their I Guess I'll Do It moment where they decided to do stand-up comedy. Today, I have a buddy of mine. We've crossed paths many times over the years. We've done some weird shows together, which I can't wait to talk to. But today, I have Eleanor Kerrigan. What's up?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, finally, now that I figured this out.
No
I still
problem.
didn't figure it out. Exciting, though. It's good to hear your voice.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
We met at Helium, I don't know, 8-10 years ago. I was hosting for Dom. You were featuring the Dom Herrera. And
the great Nicholas Herrera.
Yeah, we've been
Nicky.
we've been buddies ever since. But I've known your brother, John, forever. And you and I have done some weird shows in the Philly suburbs together. But they've all been fun.
Yeah. What was the Nick's Roast Beef was the first, right?
Nick's Roast Beef. We performed literally. It was balls ass packed in that place. And we were standing in the corner. But it was a great show. And then we did that thing a year ago at DeFabio's in Springfield.
Oh, that one was actually a little more put together.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that was also the closest gig I've ever done to home because my parents literally, like no exaggeration when I say literally, live not even a full minute from there. So that was like a kickball home run away from my parents' house.
That's a killer area too. Like that's a nice area.
Yeah,
there's I've never heard of it, but I got there.
Springfield, media area. But it's great to have you here. How's, past year's been shit, but you just recorded an album, right? I
did. I just recorded an album, Uncle Vinny's. I would have loved to have done it in one of those gritty, like Nick's Roast Beef or, those gigs Johnny puts together at Del Frisco. Wait, what? Not Del Frisco's. That's the wrong one. What's the name?
DeFabio's. Del Frisco's is a very high-end steakhouse.
Yes. Can you imagine if we were doing Del Frisco's? Enjoy your steak. Anyway. Just throw dick jokes the fuck at them. Who talks while they eat? Shut up. But like I would have loved, but this was kind of close to that. Uncle Vinny's is only at, I think they're at 30% or something like that capacity. What do you guys?
Philly, I don't know. Philly's weird. In the suburbs, places are like in the suburbs. Weird thing.
Yeah. And so he was, he's already a small place. I think it's only 140 seats, which is very intimate. But then I think he can only have like 40 people. So I was like, screw it. Let's do it there. Cause it's already small. So I did it. We had so much fun. I love Point Pleasant, Uncle Vinny's. The Shore crowd is always fired up because they're just wasted.
Yeah. And they're always revved up.
This is a BYOB. So, guys come in. The years I've done it in the past come in with like sangria that they made at home, but they added tequila. I'm like, that's different. That's not, you took it to another level now, so by like mid-show, they're like throwing up, but it's always like wild. Something crazy always happens. And my first night recording, a guy got into a fight in the back. I was like,
was it picked up on the audio?
I haven't listened to it fully because I haven't had the heart yet. It's hard. Are you good at listening to your stuff? Because I'm not.
Yes and no. Like I record every single set on my phone and I don't always listen to them. But in case I said something new or something different, or I like the way I said something, maybe off the cuff, I know exactly what to listen to. Yeah. But if I am like recording an album, I could have the audio in the can, but it'll take me a month to listen to that one set.
Yeah, I've been slow. I listened to half. I didn't get to the end because my favorite part was the owner is so known in the community, Dino. So people love him. They love him. And so this guy was from a different town, maybe 2 towns over or something. And so they were arguing. And he was like, look, you're just being too loud. She's recording an album. And then he's like, I paid good money to come here. And he starts yelling. And another patron from another table got up and goes, nobody talks to Dino like that. And I'm like, yes, this is great. And I was like, guys, my album, just thank you.
So I mean, this isn't a big secret here. I just recorded an album. It's going to come out in the next month or two. But cool. I recorded it at Helium in Philly across 5 shows. And on Thursday, a woman's cell phone went off and I did crowd work with her. And I hate talking to the crowd. I'm not that kind of comic. I fucking hate it.
I love talking to the crowd.
I know. We have such different views here, which we will get into. But I had to totally bail on a one bit because we got so far carried away. But I'm going to put it on as a bonus track because
That's good.
It ended up being really fun. But I couldn't even continue with what I was doing because her phone rang and then it rang again. And then she was like texting somebody and I was like, who are you texting? And she goes, I don't know. And I'm like, all right, this is getting too weird. So
let me ask you a question. When you recorded your album, did you tell people this was a recording?
Absolutely not.
See, I think that's where we made the mistake. We told people it was recording.
Okay. I mean, I've done both. With the first 2, I headlined Helium, did 1 show, 1 take. This was the first time I recorded an entire weekend and switched up material across 5 or 6 shows. And I'm like never doing that again. 1 show, 1 take is so much easier. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Then you have to pick and choose. You're like, okay, this bit did great Friday and Saturday. Which one am I choosing of the 4 shows? And it became to be too much.
Yeah. See, I think the fight, thing I might use as a bonus track if it sounds right, because it started with this couple in the front who I try to engage obviously and I said something, have you ever done whatever I said to him, and then he went on this because at this point his alcohol kicked in, he was on a second date and he just went on this long story. For their first date he took her to a pole dancing place.
Oh,
like not a strip club, a place where you can try pole dancing.
That's also like bringing like a first date to the gym. You're like,
but I was like, what do you like? Let me see her moves before you know what I mean? Like, and so it just went in this crazy and it got weirder. And then another couple got involved and like, why would you do that? And then it just turned into this thing. I did the bit the next night clean. Like not clean. No, don't say clean, but you know what I mean? Like no interruptions, no interruptions. So I do have it regular, but it is funny with the heckling if they got the audience.
Yeah. Who recorded it?
It's 800-pound gorilla.
Oh, nice. They're based out of Nashville.
So, yeah, he's awesome. So it's the TLB, is that the right? There's 2 of them that are together, TLB and it's gorilla, the 800-pound gorilla.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I've heard awesome. I met those guys when I did Zanies last time.
They're so cool.
They seem like such awesome people.
Yeah, so I was doing it with someone else, and because of COVID, it's right before COVID, I was supposed to do it at Uncle Vinny's, whatever, and I was doing it with someone else. But with COVID, he's like, just record your sets, and he sent me the equipment. Now, I barely logged into this podcast. So how the hell am I I'm in Minnesota sweating, trying to put things together. There's sound guys trying to help me. I had the guy on FaceTime. He's like, it's easy. Just put him into her. I'm like, what? You're
better off just like using your iPhone.
That's what I said. I said, I can't do this. I'm sorry. I said, the guy's awesome. He's great. There's no bad blood or anything. I said, look, I just can't do it. So I sent him his stuff back. And then 800-pound gorilla came in. So I was like, yeah, you know what? If you're going to show up, yeah, I'll do it. So,
well, that's awesome.
You're going to be able to plug things in because I can't.
That's your first album, right?
My very first album.
Very cool. Do you have a title for it?
Not yet.
Oh, I have, very cool.
Things that, I just haven't decided which one. My friend, Ryan Sickler?
I do.
Love Ryan. So Ryan was like, don't even stress about it. Just take a picture, think of something quick. He goes, don't sit and be like, it's gotta be
picking and choose. Oh, you'll so drive yourself nuts.
But I already do that on a regular basis without having to pick a title.
I mean, we all do. That's exactly why we fucking do this shit in the first place.
Yeah.
So you're from Philly. You're from South Philly. I'm from the suburbs. So we're both from the same spot. But
I got my 18th and Johnson Field Boys shirt on today.
Nice. I'm wearing a Philly shirt. So
it's all Philly all the time. I did have my Gravy Seals on when I went running earlier.
Oh, nice. But you didn't start stand up here in Philly, did you?
No. I moved out of South Philly when I was like 21 to L.A. I was going to go to New York, but I wanted to be an actress. I had no interest in doing comedy.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm going to go to New York, but New York was so expensive. So I would take the train to and from for auditions a little bit here and there. And then I went to LA. I joined this thing where I was 3 months in a program and they let us live in their place, almost like an Airbnb before Airbnbs were popular or a thing. And so they let us live in their house and we did for 3 months. And then I was like, you know what? It's cheaper here. I found a job at the Comedy Store as a waitress. I already had a cocktailing job. So I was like, I'm just going to stay. And I stayed instead of going back. And at the time I was with my boyfriend and he was like, well, I think we should go back and try to make some money. I go, that's never happening. Nobody ever goes back. Let's just save some money. It's never, if I would have went back, I would have been married with 8 kids already.
Mm-hmm. So you had a job at the store before you even did stand up?
Oh yeah. I started there in February, March of 93.
Oh shit.
And so,
did you like stand up or was this just a job? Because a lot of people,
just a job.
Because it goes both ways. You know, comedy club staff either love stand up or they're just there to fucking make money and they don't give a shit.
I mean, I knew stand-ups, obviously. My brother, Johnny, is obsessed. Johnny taught me everything. Like he listened to Dice. He listened to Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, and he would make us watch Steve Martin. I remember he would play that album all the time, the King Tut.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we would, and my grandfather, he made this, it was an old record player somebody threw out, like a play school kind of thing. It was definitely for little kids, but it was a record player. And my grandpa figured out how to rig it so we could play the 33s on there, right? So Johnny, not 33, is that right? What's the big one?
45s?
45 is the little one. 33 is the big one. I forget, but whatever the big album is.
You have all the typewriter jokes. How's this shit not in your wheelhouse?
I know, you're right. I should know this one. And so I think it's 33. And so we would play it in the room. We would play their albums in our room. And I like listening to Dice. I think I was like 8 or 9 maybe. And Johnny's like, listen, this is so funny. I'm like, I know. I'm not sure what he's saying, but okay, if you guys are laughing, you know. So I didn't really get, but Richard Pryor I really connected to. Like I really thought his characters were unbelievable. And so at the store, I was like, oh, these are Dice. Yeah, my brother is obsessed. You know, they went to your concert, whatever. And Dice was one of my first friends. Carlos Mencia was one of my first friends. Dom Irera. They were just people that were at the store every night.
Yeah.
You know? So it was like weird. It was like,
that's so cool. Like I love
your friends. Like,
I mean, so that's the store in LA. So you have a million, you know, headliners and celebrities every night. I worked at Helium in Philly for years. So I saw like a person or two a week. Right, but I mean, but being in that environment is just
and anybody can drop in.
Awesome. Like,
like,
and it's even to this day, I still get like, not starstruck or weirded out, but like, okay, I love Dave Attell. And there's been times where I'm like sitting in the green room and Dave Attell walks in. I'm like, how am I sitting in this room? And like my favorite comic just walks the fuck in the same room I'm in. Like that stuff still is weird to me. And I've been doing comedy for 17 years, but I still find myself in these situations where,
you're still a little shocked. Like,
you're like, what did I, how, what, who? Like,
I remember Attell would come from New York and Mitzi liked him. You know, they would come out if they were filming something or whatever. Mm-hmm. So Mitzi liked him. So she put him and Jeff Ross were the guys she passed kind of. I remember a young 19-year-old Dave Chappelle waiting outside for the club to open so that he could showcase, like,
wow.
because he couldn't go in. It's 21 and over, the Comedy Store. So, but Attell, I fell in love with. And like, not like I only knew a few comics. I knew Dom Irrera, obviously, because we watched his Rodney Dangerfield thing on a loop. Oh my God, because he talked about South Philly. So it's
from Dangerfields, right? That one? Yep.
The Big PD, Repeaty, little bit, all that. That's
Big
all my
Petey, Little Petey.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
So I connected, of course, with Dom. So anyway, but Attell, flash 2 years later, he's my favorite. Every time he comes in from New York, I'm like,
dude,
dying, loving.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And I finally start doing stand-up. And over the years of working at the store, I became friends with this guy who ran the Tempe Improv, Dan Murr. So Dan, I always used to take care of any club owner that came to the Comedy Store. I would take care of, not thinking I was going to be a comic, just thinking it's cool. They do what we do, just in a different city. So Dan, when I first started doing stand-up, he goes, "Hey, you want a gig?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" And he put me on with Dave Attell, and I was like driving, like, what am I going to do? It's Dave Attell. I was so nervous. And I'm sitting in the green room and Dave comes in. He goes, "Hey, how are you? Are you waiting tables here now?" How embarrassing. I was like, no, I'm a comic. He's like, "You're kidding. After all those years?" Like he just didn't expect it because he knew me as like Mitzi's assistant and a waitress at the Comedy Store for.
So what was the catalyst then? I mean, you were working at the store, your brother listened to stand up. So what was the turning point for you to be like, I'm going to try this?
Well,
because we're all nuts. That's what I love getting.
And there's a running joke always that when everything else fails, let's try comedy.
Yeah.
Because you see these actors coming in like, yeah, I'm not getting any parts. You know what? I'm gonna do stand up. Like, wait, what? No, you can't. You don't just jump into stand up. But with me, for years, I would goof in the kitchen of the Comedy Store, joke with everybody, roast everybody, because that's just how we grew up. And you met my brother Johnny. He can't not shit on you. Like that's who he is.
Great.
Like they all
great ball buster.
It's a constant. And so we all grew up like that. We just, trash each other. And so I'm in LA growing appreciation for comedy, of course, more and more, because now I'm working for Mitzi Shore. I'm her assistant. She's teaching me everything under the sun about comedy. And so in 2005, my best friend passed away. He was a comic. And for years, he would be like, "You should be doing stand-up." Him and a lot of other people, but he was the main guy being like, "You're an idiot. People will come out and see you. Just do stand." I'm like, "No, I respect it too much." Like I got into that mode of I look up to it way too much to just jump into it. I feel like you have to have a calling, like you're saying, the catalyst. So I was like, no. And then I'm like, you just want me to do it because misery loves company and you want company on the road. You're a piece of shit, whatever. So his name was Freddie Soto.
I remember his presents. I remember him. I didn't know him, but I remember his presents because I was obsessed with Comedy Central in my teens, and that was one of the ones.
So family oriented, and like Freddie and I just bonded. And this was like my closest friend ever, pretty much. And we so whatever when he died, I lost it, like my whole everything. Like I didn't know what to do. It was literally lost your best friend. And so I was just kind of at the time I was engaged to my second ex-fiance, and I just 20 days after he died, my grandmom died. So everything was just falling apart, and so I was like, this is crazy. So I ruined my relationship with my second ex-fiance, which happened to be Andrew Dice Clay. And I ruined that relationship, got out of it. We broke up, but we stayed friends because he knew I was going through something crazy. He knew I was just not handling. So then about a year later, I started like working on this one woman show about my family. And I called my good friend Adam Barnhart and Cynthia Levin. They were doing one-person shows. And they asked me I asked them if I could try this in the beginning of their shows, like to open for them kind of. And they let me do it a weekend in Santa Monica, like at the West. It's called the West Side Theater.
West Side, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's a great little theater.
Oh, it's such a cool spot.
And it went really well. And everybody from the Comedy Store was there because Adam and Cynthia are Comedy Store regulars. So it was all these people. And I was like, oh, okay. And so then I had to make the big thing is call Mitzi and tell Mitzi that I wanted to work out. And she hated waitress turned comic. She hated it. It was I've seen it happen like at least 25 times and never good. Never. So that's where I know how she thinks. So I had to hit it with like kid gloves, like, hey, it's a one woman show. Can I work it out in the belly room? And she goes, that's perfect. That's where they do it. Because Whoopi Goldberg used to run hers in the belly room. That's what she wanted it for. Yeah. So, because it's a smaller, intimate room. So we go up there. Oh no. So we go up there and I went and I did it. And Dice came. He goes, I want to see it. And he brought his girlfriend that I set him up with because I'm that kind of ex. And so he brought her with. And I go on stage and like some dumb shit happened in the audience, like while I was telling the story, and you can't not address it, like, so I just went after them like I do, and then went back to the stories. And then Andrew goes, you're doing stand-up, stupid. And I'm like, no, it's different. And then that was it. He took me on the road with him. 3 months later, I opened at the Westbury Music Fair. And I got booed off stage. So
did you pull material? So, okay, what would you consider your first set? That one woman show or?
No, the West Side. Like, that's where I first did it. Then I think, Andrew was like, it's hard. You got to go up every night. Everybody's doing the advice. And I already knew because I was around them.
Yeah, you were around it. So you kind of.
Yeah. And like Mitzi said, look, you went to the best college there is. You just might have stayed a little too long, 12 years. You could have thought this up 6 years in or something, but and so whatever it is, what it is. And so then Mitzi was, she let me go on in the belly room. So I would do their shows. Then I would do book shows around town. And I knew a lot of people, so they would give me the chance. But if you didn't bring it, they did not bring you back,
Yeah.
So
of course.
I would stay away from the big clubs. I would just do those like off-brand shows, and then Mitzi let me working out in the belly room. So Andrew took me on the road. We went to California first, the Wells Fargo Center in it's like Northern California. It's like the Bay Area. It's not San Fran, but around there. And so Reading, I think, something like that, whatever. So we went there. I still have the jacket from that night. And my brother Johnny has the jacket they gave Dice because he didn't want it. So, but it's my favorite. I keep it because they literally gave us suede jackets for coming there. I did 8 minutes and I killed. I was like, whoa, that beginner's luck,
Oh, yep. I talk about that on the podcast a lot. My first 2 sets went well. I was shit, but they still went well. And then like my next 12 sets were just horrendous.
2,500 people. I went from 8 people in the belly room to 2,500 people in Wells Fargo Center. So, but at the time, Dice and I had a show on VH1. Called Dice Undisputed.
Yeah. So I remember that. They
knew us from there. He said, don't worry, they're going to know you. And then you bring it, because I've seen like my favorite thing to see at the store or anywhere, especially the store though, the Comedy Store, is like a celebrity will go up and they'll be like, yes, crazy. They go crazy. And then the only one that's ever addressed it that I remember is Chris Rock, where he'll go, okay, lower your expectations.
I've seen Chris Rock say it. I've seen Chris Rock say it.
He does it because I watched him bomb quite a few times because they give him the overall and then he's just worked out material.
Dude, new material is still new material. I mean,
100%. No matter who you are,
you could be the most seasoned headliner headlining 5,000 seaters every single night. But if you have a brand new idea, that's still a raw fucking idea.
I don't think there's a comic out there that I've never seen not bomb. And
isn't it great? Like, let's go back to Dave Attell for a second. I've seen him have some rough sets, and it's amazing because he's my hero. Glorious. And it's humbling. And you're just like, I've seen him throw jokes to the wind to that flopped. And it's like, man, like, it doesn't matter. It's like, it doesn't matter. And that's so beautiful.
We're all the same.
I don't want to see them bomb, but it's just so great to know that we're all in the same boat no matter what.
Yeah, but Chappelle, Robin Williams, prior when he started coming in, he was older, so it was more of a gratitude. It was like more of an exciting, and he was real sick. He was real fragile, and he was coming in every Wednesday for a year. How crazy is that? For a year. And Mitzi would only let 3 of us work. It was 3 of her top waitresses. It was me, my friend Jen, and this other girl, Lauren. And so we had to take care of Richard, and take care of the audience, keep everybody quiet because he sat in a chair, and he was like low and a little bit low. But once he got on stage, he would come up with these crazy ideas or it just talk shit about his day. And I was like, wow. Like, I remember this guy in the front row. He was like, because it's so close to the original room stage, and Richard's sitting, so they're almost eye level, and the guy's looking, he's got tears coming down his eyes. Oh,
that's awesome. See, like, that's so cool that you were around for that. Like the store, not just the store, but like, I mean, Pryor's been dead since like 2005, 2006. Like, it's so cool to just be in that environment. Like, I'm fascinated. I love the history of stand-up. So I love hearing people's stories from like the store or the Comedy Cellar. Like, I just love.
Yeah, the Cellar has a lot of history too.
Yeah. I love hearing about both places, even though I have I don't live in either, but I spent time in both.
But if you were here, you would be in at both.
Either one. Well, I would be hanging out there every single night. I mean, I would be there every single night.
Yeah, it was a Richard Pryor story that didn't make the Comedy Store documentary. I don't know why. I forget. I'm gonna have to tease Mike Binder about that. But when I was, Richard would order a toonie. It's a martini. So you give him this much alcohol. But his wife was like, yeah, you're not giving him alcohol. He's on a lot of medicine. He's sick, So she goes, make it with water. It's just water. He won't know the difference, right? So I bring out this guy who I've looked up to for years. I'm obsessed with. I know all his jokes. I know all his characters, all of it. I give him the drink. Chewy, our door guy, brings him on stage. He gets up on stage. I'm serving drinks. I'm squatted because he's sitting, so I can't block him. If I block him, Mitzi will throw me out in the street. So I'm squatting down. Somehow he sees me. He goes, "See that waitress?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "Oh no, my too." And I'm squatting, and I turn, and he goes, "She gave me water in my drink, bitch." I was like, Richard Pryor called me a bitch. Like, I was so excited. I was like, I could die now peacefully. But he caught me. He fucking caught. I was like, "Wasn't me, it was your dumb wife." But I didn't say that. I was just...
I'm totally putting that in the bio description for this podcast. Richard Pryor called me a bitch.
100%. It was so funny. I was like, oh, but those people would have got upset. And I was like, no, that's Richard Pryor. I don't care if he said "ho bitch." Like, yeah. It was all I gave him water. He knows the difference. Who you think you're fooling?
So 3 weeks into stand-up, you did a 2,500 seater. Is that?
It got worse. Yeah. So in California, they're very nice. Some people call them phony, whatever, but they were very receptive to me and what I was doing.
Polite crowd.
Yeah. Laughing, loving it. "Hey, Eleanor from the show." By the time we got to New York, the show was off the air. I didn't give a shit. I go out. Andrew told me to wear this cute. He goes, "What? You should wear like high boots and like your short shorts, show off your tough attitude." I'm like, show off my tough attitude with short shorts. Like, that doesn't make sense. My ass cheeks will be out. That doesn't make sense. So whatever, I listened because I figured he knows a thing or two about costuming. Anyway, I go out and I go, they had 2 comics before me, and then they took a break. And this is only because I did so well in California. He did this. They took a break. I don't know why they would take an intermission during a dice show. After this, it's never allowed.
During a comedy show, period. Just fucking keep it moving. Keep it moving.
And the 2 guys that went on before me, shit was happening. A fight broke out. Like, it was wild. And this is Westbury Music Fair in Long Island in the round. So it's filth, all front, the back, all around you. I come out, tough girl attitude, high boots, short shorts. I look cute as hell. I got this little top on, right? I go out, I'm doing my thing. As soon as I said I'm from Philly, they were like, boo, fuck Philly, the Eagles.
Yep.
So I go to street. I'm like, fuck you know, I'm like, oh shit, this is a professional setting. Calm down. Then I hear, where's Dice? And I go, he's up my ass. You want to tickle his feet? Because I'm a street kid and I lose it. And I'm like,
I love it.
Whoa. And then they all start booing, not because of that joke, just because I kept trying to do my act and they did not want to see it. So it starts in the front of you. It starts on the side. Then you feel it in the back. And my sister Karen, who comes to pretty much every show I do on the East Coast, she drove 2 hours to this show. She's sitting there. And at one point we locked eyes and she threw her hands up. Like, what do you want to do? You want to fight this fucking room? I got you. I just, in my head, I'm hearing like the newspaper being like, these 2 girls from South Philly tried to fight Long Island. Like,
oh, you know, I love a good horror story.
Oh, it's horrible. And my half bra, that cute little half bra I had on, slid down. It was on my stomach. It looked like I had 2. Oh, it was awful. It was awful.
You know, years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I had 12 shows at the Paramount with Sebastian on Long Island. And I think I liked 2 or 3 of those 12 shows. Man, I've also done the Hamptons with Sebastian, and Long Island is just not my favorite place to do stand up. Like, the crowds are chatty. And like, I have never understood Long Island because they have been the rudest, most unappreciative crowds I've ever seen.
It pissed me off, and then it got me mad to the point where I was like, you'll never hear that happen again. And that was. Are there sirens in the background there? I live right near a hospital, so yeah.
I was going to say this. No. This is great for the story. We're just talking about shitty crowds.
I should get in.
I was going to say we're talking about shitty crowds, and you mentioned 2 fights at shows in this podcast, so sirens are just apropos at this point.
Oh, it's perfect. It's L.A. Everything. It's just falling down around me. It's a mess.
How long were you doing stand up in L.A. before you did your first show back here in Philly?
But not that long. And my brother, that's why Johnny, that was within the first year that I would do those Nick's roast beef shows.
Okay.
That was 100% like within the first year. Because I've been doing stand up 14 years, February.
Okay.
So I just got past my 14-year mark, and Johnny was like, just do an hour. And I'm like, an hour? And he's like, just do the crowd work thing. You like that? And so that's what I would do at Nick's. I had some jokes, you know, some family stuff, but it was good that like family was there, because I could be like, oh, that story. Oh, if somebody piped up, I'd go into something on them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then I remember roasting people that were walking in and out of Nick's just to buy roast beef. They're like, dude, there's comedy here. Why is she shitting on me? Like,
I know you're just here to buy dinner for their family, and you're just harassing people.
My family's hungry, and this asshole is like yelling at me. Like, I didn't even know where Springfield was. You know, like, I moved to LA when I was 21. I didn't learn to drive. I've never been to the suburbs of Philadelphia. Maybe as a kid, but I don't remember it. Like, we just didn't go there. Mm-hmm. If we went to any clubs, we went to Jersey because you got in easier with your fake IDs. I used my sister Karen's, who's 10 years older. I was 14 years old going to clubs. and nobody questioned me. And I don't know if that's an insult to me or her.
That's also really young too. Like, 100%. I mean, you hear of like, I mean, fake IDs at like 18, 19, 20, but 14 is
so
like,
we're inner city kids.
Like you're still doing long division at 14.
By the time I was 21, I was like, I don't want to go clubbing anymore.
You're just over it by the time you hit your peak age.
We killed it. Like we just ruined those whole excitement of getting in when you're 21.
Was your first show at Nick's Roast Beef? Like back here?
I think so, because I didn't know anybody at the clubs. I didn't know anybody at Helium. I may have gotten on, I know, Aries Spears, the great Aries Spears, good friend of mine. Love Aries. He was another underage guy that performed at the Comedy Store. He'd have to wait outside, come in. He was only 19, do his set, and then he had to go out. Like he couldn't stay in the club. So Aries, so great. Anyway, so I called Aries and I called his manager, who's a good friend of mine, Jeff Chetty. And I said, can you do me a favor and call Aries and see if he'll let me do a guest spot? And Aries was like, oh, okay. That's cool. She's doing stand-up now? Because again, he knew me all these years as a waitress. So he let me do it. And then from there, I met Chris Cotton, R.I.P.
Yeah,
Chris took me to the other one on South Street.
The Laugh House. That's where I started.
The Laugh House. Yeah. And I because he saw me do this joke about fighting black girls in the projects. And he was like, oh, you got to come to the Laugh House. Aries was pissed. He's like, bitch, you didn't tell me you got killer jokes. And I'm like, no, this just works with your crowd because they get me. Like, usually fighting black girls in the projects doesn't go over well in a lot of places, but I feel like we're all on the same page here, and then I did that joke at the Laugh House and my sister Karen was with me and we look a lot alike, again, 10 years apart. And these girls came up to her after the show and they were like, yo, that joke you did. And like, some black girls come in her face. She goes, that wasn't me. That was my sister. And I was like, whoa, you throw me under
the bus.
Damn. I thought we were one. Okay.
Did you work the Laugh House much? Or
I did it a couple times after that with Chris, who was so sweet to help
me. Oh, yeah.
And I years later, he was, I needed Andrew Dice. I was opening for Dice and Dice was doing the Poconos. And I had started getting headlining gigs a little bit. So I finally had like a good headlining gig. And Andrew booked a gig in the Poconos. He goes, well, who am I going to get to do it? And I go, I know a guy. So I got Chris Cotton.
Nice.
Yeah, Chris got to open for Dice in the Poconos.
Very cool.
Great. Andrew loved him. He was great. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it was just fun, like, to repay, because he took me around. And anytime I was in town, he would say, hey, so-and-so is doing a gig, hit them up or hit this person up. This is a mic here. That's a mic there.
Yeah, he would grind.
So
he was out
him.
there. Yeah, Chris, actually, Chris and I started a little bit before him, but we were both out like every single night. We were really hitting the pavement hard. We kind of ran in different circles, but we were both out every single night.
We got to do a show with Dice, you and I.
We did the Trocadero, and my name said Pete House. I'll never forget that on the.
Oh my God!
I still,
that could have been my niece's fault. Oh no, wait, yeah, well, she was there. My niece was running it, Nicole. Yeah.
Behind me, I had like a bin over here of like comedy shit I've saved, and it said Dice, Eleanor, Michael Parisi, and then it said Pete House. And I remember just saying like, I can't wait to meet this Pete guy. But
did you keep the flyer?
Oh yeah.
I have a great one too. It's worse than that, but
there was I remember was it that day? I remember I didn't know Michael or Wheels, whatever you want to call him, was on the show.
Yeah, Wheels, yeah.
And then I remember like I was being, I don't think you told me, maybe it was you or somebody else, but I remember, all right, like you're doing 15 minutes. And then like the day of the show, it's like, all right, you're doing 10. Then I get to the Trocadero, they're like, all right, you're doing 7. It's like, all right, Dice wants you to do 5. I'm like, okay. I was just getting told different times every couple hours. And it was I remember that.
What did you wind up doing? Because I
like 5 to 7, I think.
I wonder if that was the venue's fault because
I don't remember. But I remember it was a great show and I knew people there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because the radio people put that together, right?
That was a W. Was that a Preston and Steve or WMMR
Preston
thing?
Steve. I'm sorry, Preston and Steve. Yeah. Well, they were helping like promote with tickets, I guess. So, but I remember Andrew going, Pat House is on the show, and I go, oh yeah, he's great. And he's like, you know him? And I'm like, yeah, I do shows here a lot. You know, when I come home, I try to do shows. He's terrific. You'll love him. And Wheels is like, oh, okay. You know, so he can handle it. I go, he can handle it. I go, it is a dice crowd. Dice crowds are different. I will give you that.
Yeah.
They will heckle you. They will, like when I come out, they're like, oh, is this a sacrifice? Like dice Staten Island, forget it. That was literally, I still hurt from that fight. I won it, but it hurt.
You mean fight collectively with the crowd?
100%. 100%. And I mean fighting. I got off the stage. I brought Andrew up and the stagehand saw me walk out because I was going out to literally fight. I'm like, oh, you want to go hard like that? You know, and it was a man. I knew exactly where he was sitting and I was going to take him outside and beat the shit out of him.
Oh,
that was my goal. That's how bad it got.
Oh my God. So what was he yelling at you?
Just dumb girl shit, you know, like, show us your tit, like just.
Oh, Jesus.
Wouldn't stop. Even though I shut him down, get a big laugh, wouldn't stop. Oh yeah, I could fault you, like whatever. I was like, you want to fuck? Well, let me show you what you're going to do. You're going to get your ass kicked physically by me because I don't do this. This is not normal for me. I don't handle problems argumentatively. I punch you in your throat, you know? So he stopped me the stage and he goes, you can't go fight the audience. I go, it's just one guy. I know where he is. And he's like, you have to calm down. And I'm like, you don't know who I am, you know? And he was just so hard trying to calm me down. Then I got embarrassed.
Did Dice have your back there? Like, does he?
Oh, yeah.
Or, okay, because I was going to say, did he reprimand the crowd or the person, or does he come on stage and then laugh at your expense about it? Because I could see it going either way.
No, he tormented the guy. He kept going after him. That's why I calmed down and I laughed because he went after him. Oh. My favorite fight story with Dice, we were doing a show. We've been in a lot of fights. Yes, with each other, but also with other people.
I need to have you back for just a separate fight episode
together. But I was on stage at the Riviera in Vegas. And it was a fight night. It was like a highlight Mayweather fight, like a giant. Everybody was at the fight. So Dice's tickets suffered. So it was already a small crowd. I come out and there's these couple in the front and the woman was so drunk and belligerent and she wouldn't stop. And I kept shutting her down. Then it got to the point where I started blacking out because she wouldn't stop. I'm working on it. This is in the beginning, so I work on it. Nobody's gonna get hit. Calm down. But I have to work on it. And I felt myself walking off the stage. I remember there was steps in the front. I was walking down to just beat her up. That's where my head went. And then I go, Eleanor, you're on a my foot was off the step, like I was on the top step. And I was like, this is a professional show. What are you doing? So they came and they threw her out. They threw the whole place out, the whole table out. And the guy started yelling as they were walking out. So then I tried to fix the show. I tried to bring it back. I tried to hone in, look through my third eye and calm down and bring it back. So I'm sweating and I'm getting them a little bit back. And then all of a sudden I feel a hand on my shoulder and it's Andrew. He goes, it's all right. I got it. So I go, oh, hey guys, give it up for Andrew. And I'm like, I'm fired. I'm fucking fired. I'm fired. He is done with my anger. My hood rat shit is over. I go to the back. I'm like, his wife is back there. She's ex-wife now, but at the time his wife is back there and she's worse than me. Because she was the one who came and got them out. She was like, bitch, you got to go. And she took them out with the security. So,
oh, that's awesome.
So I said, what? I said, Val, am I in trouble? Am I fired? And she goes, no, me and Andrew were out here fighting them while you were on stage. He goes, the police just escorted them out. And so they were fighting in the lobby while I was on stage trying to fix it. So I didn't get fired.
Dude, I love the visual of like these people coming out to see Dice Clay, and then as the opener is on stage, them having an altercation with him in the lobby. He's like, get
the fuck out of here. Valerie said it was so funny that she calmed down.
They went there as fans and then leave because like fucking oh, that's so funny. That is so funny.
An asshole, man. He's trying to fight us, man. So ridiculous.
Oh, dude, that's so funny. I got to have like a special episode of just horror stories and have you on, because I'm sure with Dice, you probably have 56 more of these in your back pocket.
Oh, yeah. But it's weird like that when we do it together, usually we're on camera fighting with each other. Like we love to argue because we do fight like an old bicker, an old married couple.
I've seen the Instagram. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
We haven't made those videos in a while, but they are fun. I actually miss doing them, which is funny because on the road he would drive me so crazy. I would flip out on him, or I would drive him so crazy he would flip out on me. So it was like he would just record it, like see what happens. So it was always fun.
No, we've only crossed paths a couple times, but he's always been very, very nice to me. In the times we have.
He was super complimentary to you that from that show. He thought he was like, oh, this guy's great.
He was that night, and it was very odd. I mean, I shouldn't say odd. Like I didn't meet him until like an hour after the show, and I don't know if you remember. He like called my name from his dressing room down the long hallway, backstage there, and he was super complimentary, and he even quoted a handful of my own jokes back to me. And like I didn't even know if he was in the building when I was on stage, but he was 100% in tune to my set. And it was okay, talk about being in the room with legend or a hero. I'm like, Andrew Dice Clay and I are the only two people in this room, and he's saying my jokes back to me. You're like, what universe is this?
Yeah, because I was downstairs with my entire family.
I remember I met a lot of your family that night.
My poor mother had to go up those steps. Remember those narrow ass steps?
I know, the ones right next to the stage. They weren't even like they're not even held together properly.
No, it's all rickety. My niece runs that place. Was running that place.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, Nicole was running that place, and she got to witness like Bert Kreischer did a special there.
Yeah. Christian Finnegan, Jim Gaffigan have taped there.
All of them. She was there for all of them to do their specials, and she was very excited about that.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So I was thinking of using that place, but then she don't work there anymore, and I think it's closed down right now. What the hell is the name of it? I can't think of it.
Trocadero. 10th and Arch.
I was going to say Tropicana.
I mean, close. I've done some really
from them, so.
Yeah, the hat with the there's like a lightning bolt or like a bowl on it or something. Yeah.
Everybody asked me, "Oh, where'd you get that at?" I'm like, "That's Philly, Trocadero."
Yeah, no, they did have some really cool stuff there. It's such a great venue. So you're on the road a lot. How's the rest of your 2021 looking?
I'm trying to build that up right now, booking gigs right now as we speak. With emails, that was what was coming in. But I have like a few. It's staggering, but it's coming.
Very
because
cool.
Now the thing is everybody's coming back, right?
Yep.
And the theaters aren't necessarily yet, and so those theater comics are trying to run their thing in the. They're coming down, so we're getting bumped down again. You know what I mean? Oh
yeah, it's crazy when you look at like a
tough, yeah.
It is when you look at a
but
comedy.
Respect, they got to do it. They got to work out too. So
I know it's crazy when you see these theater acts in clubs and you look at like a comedy club calendar and it's literally like Bob Saget, Brian Regan, and Chelsea Handler like at a comedy club. You're like, what?
That's crazy. You're like, whoa, okay, but we all got knocked down a peg for a second. And so I think in the fall, the theaters will start opening back up and it'll start getting back to somewhat of a normalcy. Even too. Out here, they really, over this pandemic, the greatest one is Soul Joel's by you in Royersford.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's by you, but the
it's like 12 minutes away.
Done with that is insane. We did shows. Me and Andrew did show. I just headlined there a couple weeks ago, but I was opening for Andrew there. We did like 3 shows, and it was an ice storm that afternoon. So he was like, oh, they're going to cancel. And I was like, I don't think you know Pennsylvania.
No, they still come out.
They're going to tailgate. This is like an Eagles game for them. And they came, it was 27 degrees. There was literally like big snow drifts behind the stage. And Andrew was on stage. He had mittens on. And we both have these mittens that you open and they're, your fingers can come out. So you could type, stupid texting and stuff, but they're nice and warm. We found these weird mittens. So he had them on and he was doing his poems and he's like, tongue does balls, not once, but twice. But before he said once, but twice, he had to take his mitten off.
Oh, that's... It does kill the visual part of it.
I was dying. I was like, can't take the mitten off. But he was so cold. And he did an hour and 20. Wow. 27-degree weather. It was insane. We're coming back in July. We'll be back there in July with Vic DiPotetto. How crazy is that?
Oh, I'll definitely be there.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't wait to catch you back here again, and I would love to do something with you out here as well. You and I should do something together out here. I got a couple.
I would love that.
I have a place in mind, so let me know next time.
Are you on the road a lot now? Are you getting back?
I just did the road hard for 2 months, and I'm home for 2 months. But I have some stuff.
It's like staggering. That's exactly what I just did.
I was out of town 8 out of the last 9 weekends, or so, and now I'm home for 2 months straight. Right. I have some local stuff, but then July and August I'm on the road again. So it's such an odd time for everybody.
Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm doing La Jolla Comedy Store May 21st that weekend, and then I'm going to Reno and doing the Laugh Factory at the Silver Legacy.
Very
cool. And I have
cool.
the great Brian Holtzman featuring for me, which may or may not go well.
Oh no, it will go well.
Do you know Brian Holtzman?
I know him to say hi. I don't know him.
He's out of control. It's gonna be wild. I can't wait.
Let me say, I gotta
in
have
June,
you back.
I'm sorry, not July. June. Sorry.
Very cool. Well, you'll have to let me know when you're back here. But thank you for being here. I love talking shop.
Thank you so much.
We haven't caught up in a while, but I definitely want to catch up with you. And I want to do some shows out here with you. You're back in Pennsylvania and Jersey often, so let's make some stuff happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna keep doing that. Coming home for like 2 months at a clip. Keep the place here. I tell people all the time, like, if you want to come out here while I'm there, y'all are welcome to use my place.
You have actually offered that to me as well, and I will definitely take you up on that at some point.
Yeah, because I do stick over there for like 2 months. Because nobody left. My whole family's there.
Yeah.
So after this COVID thing, family's all that matters.
Yeah, very true. Well, thank you again for being here. I enjoyed talking about the early days and everything. So thank you, Eleanor. And it was awesome. I love just shooting the shit and talking shop.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.